welcome all our parents and partners to this PD series. We do have a number of professional development workshops planned for our parents and partners. So I encourage you to please log in, register, and participate, because the information that we will share will provide you a landscape view of what we'll be doing in the classrooms this fall. So again, thank you all for joining us on today. And if you have questions throughout, we'll be there, and you can place those questions in the chat throughout, and I'll be there to answer any questions that I have answers to, and or provide you information as to where you can find the answers. So again, thank you all so much for joining us. I know this upcoming school year, well, this for the first quarter, it may seem similar to how we started the school year, but let me reassure you all that we do have strategies in place as well as structures in place to ensure that we're able to touch every scholar every day and provide an effective instructional process throughout this first quarter. So please just rest assured, we're going to do all that we can to support our scholars and their families. So not to prolong time, Dr. Williams. You may chime in somewhat midway through.
Okay, I think she's still connecting. Thank you, Dr. Ford. And once Dr. Williams joins in, maybe at the end of the call, she'll close us out. Before we move on to Ms. Williamson, I do want to remind everyone that we are training we are recording this parent training. So if you're taking notes, thank you, but you will be able to reference this video later on next week. And there is another training, the same one will take place in about 2 weeks from now, and all of the dates are on our website, just in case you may miss anything. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to use the raise your hand button or add a question in the chat. I will be monitoring the chat while Ms. Williamson conducts her training. And so without prolonging it, Ms. Williamson, we are ready for you.
Morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we're going to look at Schoology. The Schoology is the learning management system for the school system, and what that means is that is our scholars' virtual classroom. So they'll have access to their teachers and all their courses for that. They'll be able to communicate with their teachers and classmates, engage in class, and complete their assignments and take assessments. So this is really similar in a lot of ways to Google Classroom, which many of our scholars are used to using. And those of you who participated in our Excel Summer Learning Program are familiar with that as well. So what we'd like to do this morning is just kind of give you an overview, tell you how the scholars are going to log in, show you how you can log in and have your own account, and so you can see all of your scholars' work. Also, some of you may have more than one child in the school system. And so we're going to show you how you can link all of your accounts together so you can see each one of your scholars' accounts with only one login. Finally, we're going to do a little overview of the conferencing app that we'll be using and show you a little bit about Schoology. So thank you, Schools PLP. So thank you for joining us today. We're going to start out with how your scholar will log in. Now, your scholar is going to receive a code from their teachers when they pick up their devices, and it's just what they're going to receive is their login information. And it's the same thing they used to log in to all of their Google accounts in the past. It's their first and last name, and it's their Selma City School email address. So let's look and see how that works. We're going to go to the Selma City School website, click on Chalkable, click on Schoology, and enter in their information. So this is how they'll do it. Hello, we are so excited you joined us today. In this session, we're going to look at parent account. Okay, that's the parent account. I'm sorry, let me show you about the scholars. Okay, the scholars will go to Selma City Schools. Okay, let's see if we can, then they're going to click right here on Chalkable. They're going to scroll down to where it says Schoology. When they click on Schoology, they're just going to enter their first and last name at students.selmacityschools.org and their password. Again, they will receive all of that information from their teacher, and it is the same information that they have used in the past to log on to Google Classroom. Okay, let's stop and see, does anybody have any questions about that? Any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Ms. Williams? Courtney, could you unmute?
Oh no, she asked, could we hear you? And I was telling her yes.
Oh, okay. Let's go
I
on.
want to know, you were saying that it had went out a little bit on my end, that we're going to really get it from the school, right?
Yes, ma'am. You will receive this. Okay. When your scholar picks up their device, they'll receive all of their login information from each one of their accounts.
Okay. It had went out. I didn't get the last part. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. I may not have been speaking loudly enough, but thank you, please. And please stop us anytime we need to go over something. Okay?
Ms. Williamson, we do have one question from
now, that's how the scholars access it. Now, how do the parents access it? Now, you will have access to every one of your children's accounts. That means you'll get to see what their work assignments, what to do. You can message the teacher. You can communicate with people all sorts of ways through that account. There are only 3 easy steps to doing that. We're going to go right here to Schoology.com, sign up as a parent, enter your email address and your scholar's access code. Now, let me tell you about the access code. Each scholar has their unique access code, and you're going to receive that next week. You'll receive a phone call from your scholar's teacher, and they will give you that access code. So let's see how to do that live. We're going to back up to this link. Here we go. Hello. We are so excited you joined us today. In this session, we are going to look at parent account. Today, we're going to create a parent account. Our first step is to go to the internet and type in Schoology.com in the address bar. After we type in Schoology.com in the address bar, it will bring us to this screen. Let's go over to the right-hand side of the page at the top. Hover your mouse over the words Sign Up. When you do, this menu selection will appear. You're going to go down to the 3rd section where it says Parent. Please click on Parent. Now, you'll see this coming up asking for an access code. The code will be provided to you by your scholar's teacher. You're going to enter the code and click Continue. Now, you're going to sign up for your free account. And put in your email address and create a password and type it in. Now, this says subscribing to use Schoology Exchange for the blog. And by clicking register, you are agreeing to our privacy standards. Click the word register, and this will give you a view of your scholar's dashboard. Your dashboard and any recent activities. Since it's a brand new class, we don't have anything here yet. But once your scholar does, on this side, you'll see all the recent activities on course dashboard, you will see everything that the teacher has assigned for your scholar. On the third side, this is where you'll see the calendar. The teachers will post on this calendar all of the assignments and everything that's due. So by creating this Schoology account, you will be able to communicate with your teacher, the scholar's teacher, to see your scholar's work every day and understand exactly what is going on in class so that you can best support your scholar. So today we looked at creating parent accounts Schoology. We went to Schoology.com, signed up as a parent on the upper right-hand corner of the page, entered the email address and our scholar's access code that was given to them by the teacher. Again, if you have any questions about the access code, please reach out to your scholars and teacher. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day. Okay, y'all. So that is our information from Schoology for your, let me close this, I'm sorry, our information about how to log on. And the reason I did it in a video form, a couple of reasons, is because that way you could see how the account was created, as opposed to, you can't do it live more than once. And this recording is also available to you so that you can access it at any time. Okay, let's pause here a second and see if anyone has any questions.
Don't forget you're able to drop your questions in the chat or raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, Ms. Williamson can see.
Let's see, participants. I don't see any hands. So we're good?
Yes, Ms. Williamson, there was one question when you were on the slide about the students login. One of the parents wanted to know whether or not the scholars can just go directly to Schoology, or do they have to go to the website and to Chalkable each time to log in?
Thank you. That's a great question. We do need to go through that for the scholars because they're linked to the Selma City School website, web account. So they will need to go through that portal right now, please.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, are we good to go?
We have one more question. When will the student login be available?
Okay, the student logins are available now. It's their Google information, but they will have access to that very soon, and they will be all that information will be passed out at the device pickup starting on Monday.
And for the purposes of the recording, today is August 14th, and so if you are watching this recording at a later date, you may have already gotten your device and your information.
Right, and if that is the case, and they can obtain that information from their schools, there's a handout being given out to all the scholars with that information on it.
All right, thank you. There are no more questions for now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now let's look at a couple more things. Perhaps you have more than one scholar, as we talked about earlier. So if so, you're going to create an account for each one of your scholars. To access. What I mean is the procedure we just saw, you're going to receive a phone call from your scholars' teachers, and they're going to give you that access code, and you just follow that link and create the account. So you'll have access to every one of your scholars. So if you have 3 scholars, you'll have 3 different access numbers for them. So all you do is create those accounts, but then you can link them together. So when you log into one, you'll have access to the others. So let's look at this video. Again, I created a video because once you do it, you can only do it one time, so we can't do that portion live. So this is telling us how to link them together.
Well, thank you for joining us today. We are so happy that you have joined us today. Today we are looking at parents' access to Schoology. You will receive an access code from your scholars teacher for each of your accounts. In this video, we're going to see how to link accounts together if you have more than one scholar. see them all with one login. So our first step is to go to Schoology.com and enter your email address and access one of your scholars. Okay, so here I am on Schoology.com. I have entered my email address, and this is my parents' group. So we're going to go to the upper right-hand corner where you see your name. Click on the drop-down arrow, and here I see 2 of my scholars, but I have 3 scholars, and so I want to add my other scholars account. To do that, I click right here where it says Add Child. Click on it, and all I do is enter the access code for that child. That access code is given to me by my scholar's teacher. And click Use Code. Okay, now that has linked all of my accounts together. So if I want to see this scholar, click on this account, it shows me this scholar's account. My scholar, I click on their account. So you now have access to each one of your scholars' accounts. If you need any help with support, please reach out to your scholar's teacher for the access codes. Please feel free to contact me. Please contact this support sheet. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, do we have any questions about that part? Any questions?
No questions in the chat at this moment, but again, everyone, and for the recording, we will make these videos available on the Selma City Schools YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you. One more thing I wanted to tell you about Schoology. Our scholars are going to use an app called the Conference app. And this is a tutorial on it right here. This is a recorded tutorial from Schoology, and the reason I used that is because since we don't have scholars yet in the system, you really can't see all of the features. But I'd like to just show you how the scholar will log on to that. It's going to be very simple for your scholar once they're in Schoology. So let me access Schoology. I'm going to shrink this. When they log on to their Schoology account, they're going to have access to everything in Schoology. So let me pull this up for you. Okay. When they go to Schoology and they log in, and they'll go to their account, they're going to have these list of apps, and all they'll do is click right here. Do you see this is their home page, and they're just going to click under Conferences. And when they do, they're going to see an invitation from their teacher, and all they have to do is join. So this will take the place of Google Meet that we've been using in the past. This is a very secure login, and when they log in, when they're active, they will see their classes right here, and all they do is click on it and join. So again, all of this is in one place. They don't have any links to go to or anything. All they'll do, this is, this is View Course as a Scholar. So here is one of the scholars. This is a pretend scholar. This is their account, and see, they have conferences just like the teacher. And all they do is click here, and it'll say active, and it'll say first period science or whatever class they have, and all they'll have to do is click on join. Now again, there is a full tutorial on that on the link that I just gave, but all the features are not alive unless we have scholars on there. And since we don't have scholars yet, we don't. So that's the reason I wanted to give you access to that so you can see what the scholars will do. So they will not have to do anything to join that. Their teacher will have everything set up for them, and they just click on the word conference and they get started. Okay, does anyone have any questions about that? Do we have any questions in the chat?
So far, no questions in the chat, but I do want to ask a question. Will scholars receive, I know that they will get instructions about how to sign into Schoology, but would that also include specifically like a step-by-step how to log into the class and how to begin each class?
Yes, that's going to be part of the handout they receive at the device pickup. It will have everything on there for them. That's an excellent question. Thank you. Their handout will give them all of the technology information they need for their instructional technology. The process that we just told you, how they go to Selma City Schools, they go to Chalkable and click on the Schoology link, enter in their Google information, and everything will be set. So thank you. That's an excellent question. Do we have any more questions?
I don't have a question, but it's possible also to help our scholars navigate Schoology as well as the other learning platforms this school year. The first 2 weeks of school will be spent acclimating our scholars to their classrooms, to their other peers in the classroom, to the learning environment, the virtual learning environment, to SEL strategies to help them maneuver and just be successful as a student while learning online. And so one piece to that will be our teachers walking our scholars through how to understand Schoology and how to access the various components. So we're going to just take the first 2 weeks to make certain that even on our end as a school district that we really work with our scholars to understand every platform that will be used this school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Ford, before you go back to mute, we missed the first few things that you said. Your volume was a little low.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I said the first 2 weeks of the school year will be spent acclimating our scholars to the various learning platforms that we'll use throughout the school year. And so with Schoology being our topic today, our scholars, our teachers working with their students will walk them through understanding how to access the class, how to pull resources from Schoology, pretty much everything that they need to know and be successful in the classroom. They'll have that introduction, the orientation over the first 2 weeks, and then we'll start instruction. And by the time we do start instruction, it's hopeful that our scholars will have a good grasp as to how to use the various learning platforms. Thank you.
And that's all, Ms. Williamson. You can continue.
Thank you, Dr. Ford. I appreciate you sharing that with us. So, as Dr. Ford told us, all the scholars and teachers will be really comfortable with the technology before we move into our content instruction. Now, I wanted to leave you with a few resources in this respect. This is a link to the parent handbook, and you'll see this is a review of the things we've done: signing up, adding multiple children, your child's classes. These are all the things that will be visible to you as soon as it is populated. And everything that you see here will be shown right on your Scholars Access screen. So you may click on this link and it will take you to this live. Well, let's do it now and look at it. It will take you to this live handbook. And this is from the State Department of Education. And as you can see, here is the entire table of contents with everything that is a review of what we've talked about. Here's a video showing everything that we did. I just wanted to do a personal one for the school system. It shows you where their assignments will be, and we just went over all of this. And the grades will also show there. Any updates and announcements. Parent email notifications. And notifications for the text. So and this will show you a video on how to do this. So this is everything we just talked about, but it's going to show you in detail if you would like to go back and review, that this will give you all of that information.
Ms. Williamson, would it be possible
so
to...
these are additional resources if you would like some additional resources and videos on this.
Hey, Ms. Williamson, I'm sorry, before you continue, can you hear me?
Just a second. This is a resource for our teachers to pull in and to use with our scholars. Dr. Ford, would you like to say anything about Schools PLP?
Yes, hold on, Ms. Washington.
I'm sorry, Ms. Williamson, can you hear me?
Yes.
Would you be able to drop that link in the chat for parents that are participating in the Zoom to already have access to that link to start browsing?
The parent link? Certainly. I'll do it right now.
Thank you.
And you all, while she's doing that, as far as Schools PLP, Schools PLP is a resource that we will use to complement our instructional program to ensure that our students have every opportunity to practice beyond the classroom. So you will see assignments, teachers, you will see assignments through Schools PLP, but it will be used to support our core program. So therefore, we'll have an ample amount of resources at our scholars' fingertips for them to use and have access to standards-based instruction. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ford, and thank you, Ms. Williamson. There are no more questions in the chat for now, and thank you for dropping that link.
You're welcome, and thank you, Dr. Ford, for giving us some information on Schools PLP. But we wanted to make sure, even though this is a resource for teachers and scholars, we wanted parents to hear about this because Schools PLP and Schoology are similar in their names, and a lot of times those could be easily confused. So when you heard those two different terms, we just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of those. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ford. Okay, these are some more parent resources. This is more than you will ever probably want to have, but these are just great resources from the State Department of Education. Now, if you need any help, the first point of contact for help will be your scholars teacher. Your scholars teacher will be the one that has the access codes. If you have any technology problems, please feel free to contact me. This is my contact information. It is also on the website, and this presentation will also be posted on the website for you, and the recording is available. So just please know that, this is new territory for everyone, and we are all in here together, and you will have plenty of support. So please do not hesitate to call on any of us. We'll be happy. We're here to support you and your scholars. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I'd like to stop and see if we have any questions, please.
Yes, for the parents that didn't know, what you can do is you can click that link that Ms. Williamson put up, and then what it will do is open up into another screen so that you can be able to save it if you didn't know.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? Feel free to either raise your hand or unmute yourselves or drop it in the chat. And again, this session has been recorded and will be made available later next week. Ms. Williamson also has some helpful resources that will be available on our YouTube channel, which we can go ahead and share to our website as well as to Facebook, Ms. Williamson, if that would be okay to do so, and you can access it there.
Oh yes, certainly, please do.
And can I add also, you all, if I was you, I'll take a minute, take a day or so just to look at the various resources, what's there, and then join the next session, which is offered. Courtney, can you help me out with the next date for the next Schools PLP?
Yes, the next Schools PLP and Schoology training is, let me go back to, I'm sorry guys, I don't want to give y'all the wrong date. So the 26th, I think, and let me go back to it.
Okay. But if you would just take a few minutes, take your time and go through the various sources, look at what's there. And so during that next training, have your questions and we'll be able to even answer and provide you even more support at that point. After you have looked, gone through the resources, looked at by then you'll have your scholars account. You'll be able to look at the actual accounts, and then at next session, come back with your questions and we'll be able to answer those directly and provide you some next steps from there. So again, this is just a intro to Schoology and Schools PLP, but the next session, again, we'll be able to provide you even more details after you have gone through the accounts and had an opportunity to look at what's actually there. And if you're like I am, I'm the type of learner that I have to manipulate the devices, the mouse and everything for myself and click on a few buttons in order to truly understand what's there. So I'm asking, that you do that, take the time to do that. And then our next session, I'm quite sure you'll have more questions. If you're like I am now, you're just anxious to get started and want your username and password so you'll be able to get into the accounts. And you'll get those next week from your child's teachers.
Thank you, Dr. Ford. And I just dropped the link again for just a quick reference of the list of dates and events. And our actual next parent training is next Tuesday, August 18th. It's Voyager Night for elementary parents. And so if you're an elementary parent on today, and if you have not registered, please go and do so. But the next Understanding Schoology and Schools PLP is Thursday, August 27th. And again, like Dr. Ford just said, you were here first, so you can kind of familiarize yourself with the system. And then if you'd like to come back to that next training just for another overview or to drop any questions that you have, please join us for that. But for each one of these, you will have to register. So go ahead and do that today. And if we don't have any more questions, that concludes our training.
And I don't know if you all did so at the beginning. I see one of our board members is here with us, Mrs. Wooten. Would you like to say something? Do you have a word to say? Okay, she may have logged off already. Do we have any other board members on with us today? I see some of our principals. Thank you all for joining also to support the session as well. You all please tell your friends and have them to tell their friends about these various sessions that are taking place so that we'll be able to get everyone on and provide the support and training throughout this process. I appreciate you. I love you guys. If you need any assistance, please reach out to your child's teacher or your principal, and just know Teaching and Learning, the Department of Teaching and Learning is also here, and my name is Ozella Ford, to support our parents in this transition. We really want this to be the best learning and the remote sense of teaching and learning to take place. And that's what we're preparing for and expecting. So thank you guys so much for today. Ms. Washington, Ms. Williamson, you're the best. You're the bomb.com. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And I will, as you are leaving, I will stay on the call for a few moments after, just in case anyone has any.
Sorry, my audio's gone out, but thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. And we'll stay on just a few